Hey YouTube, Petey Two Finger here. Today I bought a USB microphone, which is called a Snowball. It's made by Blue, and this is a very popular product. I paid $9. It was $8.96 at Salvation Army. Now, from that same Salvation Army, a while back, a few months ago, I got this mic that's swinging in and out of frame. That's the MXL USB 006, and that's the mic that I've been using. Excuse me. That's the mic that I've been using ever since I got it. And it's USB. You plug it in, the driver or whatever, ding dong, and it loads up, and you just, rather than using the Logitech HD Pro Webcam C910 built-in mic, which is a fine mic, I choose to use this because it's a better frequency response. And the main thing is that the built-in mic has a high-pitched whistle, and it's faint. It's not really that pronounced, but it's enough to drive me nuts and not want to use it, which really sucks because the quality of the video is good. So typically, if I'm going to make a video where it's just me chatting, I have this set up and running, and now it's become more complicated because I'm incorporating these different mics. So as I run into a USB mic, I'm going to purchase it because that's the type of guy I am, and I found this to be really a great mic, with the exception of you got to be kind of close to it. There's a switch for 3 different methods of recording, and even with that, I only found really the one mode to be usable, sound really good for voiceover, and it's on the number 1 switch. And putting the mic at arm's length, you lost a lot of dBs. It needs to be close, and then you have plosives where you say a P or a B and it redlines the meter, or the S's sound real harsh. So this, I wouldn't take it back. It's a high quality thing, comes with its own stand. This would be really good for recording. If I was going to lay down vocals, I would grab this. If I was going to do acoustic guitar or a woodwind, flute, any type of thing like that, even for miking a guitar amp. And it's USB. So this is really handy. It's just for voiceover. I'll probably be sticking with my MXL because what I heard in watching reviews was that this is low output. So you got to be really close up to it, or if it's at arm's length, like you want to do it, because if you're for podcasting where people aren't going to see your face, this is excellent. You could have it right up on you, have a pop filter on it, and sit and do your thing, and it would work wonderfully. But to have it out of the camera, like where I would want to keep this, ideally I would have it 3 or 4 feet away, and I would remove this base and just drill a 1/2-inch hole in the desk that holds the monitor and drop the rod that this is mounted on into that hole, and then run the USB into the back of the computer, and that would be it. I would be done with it. This would be my mic. Unfortunately, I would have to crank the gain up using some external software, and that would bring in the other noise. I live in a kind of a noisy building, so it's going to be something that I'm going to keep in my collection. I will use it. But I'm probably going to stick. We have to see. In looking into it, on what the reviewers had said, one video was like, get your Blue Snowball mic to sound like this. And he played a normal clip of it, and then what it sounded like after. And after, it was a lot louder, and there was more like bass and treble, like it just sounded more, really like a professional voiceover should. And what that is voice meter, MEETER, voice meter software. And there's something else that goes with that that's called virtual cable. It's VB Audio. That's the name of the place you need to go, so you could type that in your Google search. VB Audio, virtual cable. You download that and install it. It's a driver for routing stuff around, internal. Kind of like ASIO for all, like that. But it's just this routing driver. And then the software that has the GUI that you're going to be working in is Voicemeeter. And that is a channel strip. It's got a 3D panner, right, left, front, rear. There's a 3-band EQ. Then for your channel strip, on this particular one, there's three channel strips, and then a master stereo bar, stereo, repeat, composite, mono, mute, mix down button. And then they've got two sets. There's a stereo VU meter and then another VU meter for my channel strip input. And on that, it has this EQ where I'm going on the treble side, closer to the mid. Now I'm in the mid, right in the middle now, and then into the bass side, and continuing into the bass side, back all the way up to the treble. Now I'm going to try this. Check. That's taking, I'm not sure if that's changing the frequency of the high. I'm not sure, but setting it right around here for me is probably going to be good. Giving a little bass, and then I've got the EQ tweaked, 1.6 on the high and 2 on the mid. That might be a little high. We'll bring that down to 0.8 and 1.6 on the treble. And then there's something called audibility. Audibility. Audibiliti. And I think that's a compressor. Anyway, the guy who I watched his video, he had a use my settings. You could download his thing and ape his settings, and I downloaded that as he had it all set up for voiceover. And he had that set at 3. Now I'm going to drop that down to 0 now and see what do I prefer. So for the rest of this video, it's going to be set at 0. So if you were ever felt like the Windows mixer came up a little short, this is for you. Voicemeeter software. Now, mind you, you have to install VB Audio virtual cable as well, and there's a little bit with the routing. Like in the number 1 slot, the hardware input, I plug my USB mic in, and it installs a driver, and then I go through that window and select that. In this case, it's called USB device. In the case of the blue mic, it came up as the blue mic. So you just tell it under the triangle 1 hardware input right at the top of the channel strip. You click on that. It's no going into settings or anything. It's right there. You click on that and tell it that's your input. And then for the on the stereo master bus on the right side, the output, the main, is A1 and A2. I went into A1 and I selected this virtual WDM cable input, WDM cable input, VB Audio virtual cable is what I had selected. Like, I'm guessing that's maybe as the output. Now, there's probably a lot more of this software. I just installed it a few minutes ago and haven't really played with it that much. But I wanted to recommend that to you if you needed to get a little more out of your performance of your mic. And I found this to be really helpful because at this point, I have a visual response. There's dancing LEDs that they're gray, green, and then red. So I know when I'm clipping. So I know right now, with this being set where it's set at -8 dB, and -13 is where I'm pinging out. It's basically where I want to be. So with this mic, and with the snowball mic, you needed to turn that up because that mic isn't putting out as much output as this MXL mic. So having a visual reference is, there's been times where I've had to reshoot a whole video because I didn't think to do an audio test where I finished the video and I go back and listen to it and it's distorted because it was too hot or you can barely hear it. So I'm definitely going to be putting this into my folder of applications that I install on every PC. or my main ones at least. And if you found this helpful, leave a comment. Go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you get updates, because my videos are cool. And I could use the help. I could use the support. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful, and peace.